By its nature, word and look, gold evokes wealth, money and riches. It was indeed the riches that brought wealth to the new colonies of New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. A reasonable proportion of that money went into the pockets of the lucky diggers, who heretofore had not experienced any wealth whatsoever. Unfortunately, much of that wealth had been dispersed in the hotels, the bawdy houses and gambling dens of the mid-19th century Australian capitals. Hi, I'm Michael Beashall, Australian historical fiction writer, and in this particular video, the last of the gold series, we'll present the final video on the effects of the gold rush in Australia. We are going to talk here about the effect on the economy and the earnings that were made. Now, the newspapers of the time were talking about gold every day, and in August of 1852, the Sydney Morning Herald said that gold would attract so much of the commerce of the world to Australia, ensures that the world would witness a change in the system of maritime commerce growth, that those affected by the voyages of Columbus and Vasco da Gama. So ships were going to come to Australia in plenty. The advent of the steamer as against the ships of sail as the preferred version of maritime travel, this also helped people's travel to New South Wales and Victoria. So again, inventions often sort of informed and helped the gold rush it inflamed it to greater things. Now, with respect to the metrics of earnings growth, here are some examples of these that give credence to the fact that gold did catapult Australia's growth in the middle of the 19th century. Now, a good metric, a good measure are the bank deposits. Now, these increased from approximately £820,000 in 1851 to £4.3 million in 1852. So in 1 year, 822,000 to 4.3 million. Unbelievable. In terms of connecting Australia to the rest of the world and allowing goods to come and human resources needed to ensure its growth, resulted in the number of ships arriving increasing from 555 in 1850 to triple that, 1657 in 1852. So a triple increase in volume over 1 year in ships coming to Australia. The volume of exports from Australia was also significant, and how those exports improved the wealth of the nation. Those exports rose from £1 million in 1850 to, you ready for it, £7.5 million in 1852. £1 million in 1850, 2 years later, £7.5 million. That's unbelievable, and an exponential increase. All bullion exported to England, all the gold that went on the ships to the mother country, increased from 145,000 ounces in 1851 to 2.5 million ounces in 1853. In 2 years, unbelievable growth. And the government got their fair share of income on the way of licences and taxes. That was their means of getting it. The Colonial Secretary D. Thompson was fearful that a digger democracy should barbarise society. God forbid. Something had to be done. Sydney was going mad. Governor Charles Fitzroy tried to control it by issuing licences. Now, he reckoned that all the gold in the land in its natural place belonged to the Crown, and no person should access it without government approval. A gold licence tax was brought in at £1.10 per month. Yeah, look, we don't know. That sounds reasonable. The diggers in New South Wales, they paid the licence. Yes, they grumbled and they groaned and they carried on about it, but this was not on a par which, compared to Melbourne and Victoria, which led up to the rebellion of the Eureka Stockade in Ballarat, which will be discussed later. So, all these statistics, exports, bank deposits, gold bullion, all these statistics pointed to a monumental increase in wealth earnings, export for the colonies of New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. It's again evidence, real hard-hitting evidence, of how gold discovery was the essential catalyst of New South Wales that drove it and its peoples to new heights. In later videos, we'll look at the infrastructure, transport, and the usual political suspects in this fascinating early Victorian period. I'm Michael Bichel. Goodbye for now, and thanks very much for watching these great videos on the gold rush.